Hello, this is Mr. Hornsby83. This is the Mr. Hornsby83 show, and today I actually had planned for me to do a video reviewing the most recent Marvel Legends, most recent Marvel Legends X-Force Wave Mr. Sinister figure. I was going to review that. But I'm probably going to do that tomorrow since I haven't done many videos this past couple weeks. I don't think I've done a video at all the past couple weeks. But the last one I did was the WWE 2K19, some things I'd like to see in 2K20, which I should have put things I'd like to see instead of what we would like to see, because I'm not sure what other people would want to see. But I said do another video. Like I said, I'll do the Sinister one tomorrow. I can also compare it to the Toy Biz one that came out in Wave 12 with the Marvel Legends, what Toy Biz was making them, which you guys have seen me review in the past. But today I want to talk about, this whole Rotten Tomatoes controversy that's been going on with, this Rambo Last Blood review. I also want to talk about earlier this year when the Shaft movie came out, and a lot of reviews I seen for that and what people were saying about that. And I'll, pretty much might go on a little bit of a mini rant about these two movies. Now look, I haven't seen Rambo Last Blood. All I know is I'm hoping it's the last one, and the reason why is because I felt like, not because I, just think Stallone's too old to do movies, because I'll still watch a Stallone movie if I think I'll like it. But the thing is, I felt like Rambo 4, which was just called Rambo, pretty much ended the Rambo storyline, and then we get this Rambo Last Blood. Now, I'm a fan of the Rambo movies. I watched the Rambo movies. I liked the Rambo cartoon that came out years ago. I also had Rambo action figures. I had his commanding officer. And I think I had a Rambo. It was like one of those giant... Hawk, get your paws off the freaking tripod. So I had the Rambo... a couple of Rambo figures. They were like giant size, like the old school G.I. Joes. I didn't like the fact they were giant size, but it was Rambo. There was not that many Rambo figures out at the time. Now I missed out on the NECA ones that came out years ago. Maybe NECA re-releases them eventually, like they did with Nightmare on Elm Street Part 3 figures, and the Terminator 2 figures and all that stuff. But yeah, so I like the Rambo movies. 2 is my favorite. I don't know why I like 2 the most, but for some reason I just like 2 the best. So I thought it was the best one out of all 3 of the original ones. 3, yeah, it's okay. 4, I felt 4 was overrated. I didn't like 4 as much as I liked 1, 2, and 3. And even though I thought 3 was okay, I still liked it. But yeah. So, when I see people bashing movies like, Rambo and that, and it's not because of because they feel like it's movie purposes why they hate the movie, it's because their political views get involved with their review, and that's really annoying that, they let their political views get in the way of reviewing the movie. Now, like I said, I have not seen Rambo Last Blood. I do plan on seeing it. And here's the thing with Rotten Tomatoes, or any other critic that gives a movie a bad review. Here's my thoughts on that. If you give a bad review to a movie, that's going to make me want to see it more. Because I don't put no stock in Rotten Tomatoes or frickin', these so-called professional critics or whatever that you know, piece by piece. That, you know, there are some people I'll listen to and watch. Like, sometimes I'll watch Grace Randolph, but sometimes I feel like Grace Randolph's at her best when for reviewing movies is when she's reviewing something like, I don't know, a superhero movie. And she's one of the ones that also, she said it was racist and blah, blah, blah. But apparently all I know is that supposedly Rambo's fighting the cartel in this, which makes a lot of sense. I mean, what else can he do? He's taking on so many bad people in the military. That'd be like freaking Chuck Norris doing another mission and action movie and he's taking on the freaking mafia or something like that. So, apparently, for whatever reason, she just said it was racist just because it made Mexicans look bad, and it made all Mexicans look like bad guys. No, it sounds like to me the only ones that were being portrayed as bad guys was the cartel. The cartel is bad. They do a lot of bad things. They run drug rings, they run prostitution rings, they run freaking, I'm guessing, sex trades, all that crap, and but it's racist. Another guy, I can't remember all these freaking people's names, but another guy who reviews it said, oh, it's a true Trump movie. It's like a movie made for Trump. Okay, first of all, pal, the first Rambo movie and the Rambo movies after that came out long before President Trump was even thought of as far as him being a president. So, to put your political view and not give a review of the movie like, oh, it's bad because, you know, it's just not a good movie. You didn't give actual good reasons why the movie's bad. Just because it's a blood and guts, blah, 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 movie made for Trump, blah, 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 blah. I get so sick and tired of that. We don't get many guy movies these days, and when the guy movies that we do get come out, people want to freaking rip them apart. Just like with freaking Shaft. I heard so many people criticizing Shaft for, oh, you know, all that macho BS and blah, 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 and the freaking Shaft movie, blah, 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 blah. The movie was good. The only issue I had with it was them making, you know, Shaft pretty much a family man. And actually being tied down to one woman. Or wanting to be tied down to one woman with a child. That's the only problem I have with the movie because I've seen some of the old school Shaft stuff. I think they made like, what, 2-3 movies? And then there was a TV show as well. But, you know, people want to criticize these movies that are trying to do the old school action ways, and then they want to criticize them for it. But yet, some stupid superhero movie comes out, they want to be all on it. Some stupid superhero movie made by Marvel. Happy ever after, blah, 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 you know. Or some freaking movie because people criticize the scene in It Chapter 2 at the beginning. I'm not going to say it because I'm not going to spoil it. I feel like if you want to see It Chapter 2, go see it. I didn't care for it. I thought it was... And it was actually worse than the second part of the TV special as well. That's what I felt about the It Chapter 2. I mean, you made this brilliant masterpiece with Chapter 1. And I've heard a lot of people give Chapter 2 a good review. I'm like, no. I don't think it deserves a good review. I think one person that probably gave it a review, a fair, objective review, was probably Chris Stuckman. But I feel like that Chapter 2 was not as good as even the Part 2 of the TV special. And you know, Chapter 2 of this version actually has better actors in it. You know, I mean, the first one, the only good actor they had in it was, well, they had Seth Green, but that was part of the movie, part of Part 1 with the kids. But then Part 2 had John Ritter in it. And I had watched Three's Company and all that, and I enjoyed Three's Company. So my issue is a bunch of these other people just put their political views into these reviews, and you know, I've seen that a lot lately. This is a movie made for Donald Trump, blah, blah, blah. Really? Rambo, Last Blood, I'm pretty sure, like I said, I haven't seen it yet, but I'm pretty sure Rambo Last Blood is made for old school action fans like me who want to see, one of my favorite franchises be revived. Even though I've been harsh on the movie, I think it's going to be worse than the last couple. But honestly, that's the thing with these people today. They're too sensitive. They're too soft in this world today. Also, another thing too is everybody wants to put their political views in it. My thing with a movie is, if a movie entertains me and I enjoy it, I'm going to watch it, which Shaft did. And now I want to see Rambo Last Blood because all these people on Rotten Tomatoes gave it a bad review. Just, that's always been my thing. Like, with X-Men Apocalypse, a lot of people dogged on that. And, I've given a lot of my opinions on that. I feel like the reason why they dogged on it is because they wanted Disney to buy the freaking rights back, which they just got back last year. They wanted Disney and Marvel to buy the rights back so that they can go and mess X-Men up, in my opinion, because to me, yeah, I've criticized all the X-Men movies. I criticized a couple during X-Men month this year. And I felt like there was a lot of good ones. I liked the very first one. I liked First Class. I liked Days of Future Past. And I liked Apocalypse. I thought Apocalypse was good. The only problem I got with Apocalypse is the end credit tease, which didn't go nowhere, because instead of going with the end credit tease, they go with the freaking new Dark Phoenix movie, just so Simon Kinberg can try to make up for the mistake he made with Last Stand. Just so Kinberg can make up for the mistake he made in Last Stand, because Last Stand was the worst X-Men movie ever, but it's been beaten now by freaking Dark Phoenix. Both Dark Phoenix movies sucked, and I heard a lot of people give, some people gave it good reviews, some people gave it bad. My opinion was the movie completely sucked. The villains were dumb and generic. You waste the new cast you just added from the last movie. You didn't get an actual Quicksilver scene in it, and that's one of the things, the spotlight for X-Men Days of Future Past and X-Men Dark Phoenix was, X-Men Days of Future Past and X-Men Apocalypse had a good scene with Quicksilver, and they really didn't do nothing with it with Dark Phoenix. The movie just felt generic all around. Genosha looked generic. The movie was just bad, and I believe that when I do eventually do the spoiler review of it and that, I can see where this one's going. It might be in the category of Halloween Resurrection with me, but I'll have to use something other than the Busta Rhymes Kung Fu thing. No, actually, I might still use the Busta Rhymes Kung Fu meter for Dark Phoenix when I review it. Another thing that irks me, but yeah, another thing that irks me about these critics is so many of these critics are so Marvel biased, and Marvel could do no wrong except for Avengers Age of Ultron, but they could do no wrong. But you think about it, the Incredible Hulk movie, I liked it. I thought it was good. I thought it was entertaining. I liked Edward Norton as the Incredible Hulk, or as Bruce Banner and the Hulk. But you could tell the movie was not as good as people thought it was, as people would think it was. The Iron Man movies, the only one I really like out of the Iron Man trilogy is the first one. That's the only one. Captain America, the only one I like out of that is Civil War. Winter Soldier was okay. First one was okay. But I liked Civil War, the best out of the Captain America movies. Avengers. I liked Endgame. I also liked Age of Ultron. I even know, a lot of people said it was a bad movie. And I said, yeah, not Endgame, Infinity War, yeah. Infinity War, I liked. And I said, yeah, Endgame, it's good, but not as good as Infinity War. And, Infinity War was a pretty good movie. Now, yes, the Spider-Man movies might have been a little bit better with Sony and Marvel working together. But honestly, they're not as good as people claim to be. And then, that's another thing too. All these critics are mad because of the Sony-Marvel situation. Now, I've talked about this on Facebook Live already and on my fan page. But I'm going to talk about it here. I know a lot of people that follow me on YouTube probably don't follow me on Facebook. So, look, I'm not saying Sony's completely innocent, and everybody's talking about, Spider-Man's gonna suck. Sony, you have no choice but to make a deal with, Marvel to give them back Spider-Man because, Amazing Spider-Man 1 sucked, Amazing Spider-Man 2 sucked, Spider-Man 3 sucked. Hey, guess what? There was 2 movies before Spider-Man 3 that were pretty good. And a lot of people consider the second one better, but I don't. I think the second one was, good, but not as great as the first one. You had Spider-Man 1, the first Tobey Maguire one. You had Spider-Man 2 with Doc Ock. And like I said, out of the 2, I liked the first one better. But then, also, a lot of people forget, there was a movie that came out last December that's, was an animated Spider-Man movie called Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. And as far as I know, no Marvel involvement for that. And that movie was one of the best Spider-Man movies I've seen in my life. So why people get... One of the best Spider-Man movies I've seen, up there with 1 and 2. And, Homecoming and Far From Home were pretty good. So, if I rank the Spider-Man movies, I'd have Spider-Man 1 first, 2 second, Into Spider-Verse third, fourth would be the first Spider-Man Far From Home, Homecoming. Then would be the second one, which would be Far From Home. So, yeah. And then fifth would probably be Venom. Or no, sixth or whatever would be Venom, because I thought Venom was a pretty good movie. And I watched that movie, I'm like, I don't get why people hated the movie. Yeah, a little too much comedy. Yeah, like with everybody else, I agree, Venom should have been somehow coked in with Spider-Man, but, yeah. The villain was kind of generic. But I still enjoyed watching Venom. And I enjoyed seeing Tom Hardy as Venom, and I thought he was a lot better than Topher Grace as Venom. Topher Grace really ruined Venom for me there for a while. I'm like, oh God, how'd this guy ruin one of the most awesome Spider-Man characters out there? But yeah, and the success they've had with the first few phases of their MCU, you may not get that same success afterwards. You never know. The next Doctor Strange movie, Doctor Strange. The next Doctor Strange movie might suck. These frickin' TV shows they're doing. Who's really gonna want to order Disney Plus to watch them? I don't want to frickin' order Disney Plus just to watch them. Put them on a frickin' TV channel. I'm old school when it comes to stuff like that. Put it on frickin' TV station. Anyway, and we don't know what these other, the next Blade movie they make could suck. I mean, I don't think you'll be able to top the first two Blade movies. I mean, yeah, you could probably have better CG with Blade 2. Better CG than Blade 2 had. But, you know, the next Blade movie might suck. Them setting up for the new Avengers might be something sucking. We don't know. The X-Men movie they make might suck. Fantastic Four could still suck. You don't know. But people want to give a pass to Disney and Marvel because, oh, they've done so much good. And like I said, as far as I'm concerned, the best freaking movies in the freaking Marvel universe, movie universe, is Captain America, Civil War, the first Iron Man, Avengers Infinity War, Endgame, I guess I could say the Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1 and 2 were pretty good, but you know. Yeah, and they were involved, but that was also Sony too. The two Spider-Man movies with Tom Holland. You know, that's like 7 movies, and they've done what, over a ton of movies? And, you know, those are the ones I feel like are the best movies that they got in their category. So you don't know what they'll do. And this notion, I also want to talk about this too. The notion that you're gonna have, and look, man, I ain't got no problem with you casting African-American actors. I mean, some of my favorite action stars were African-American too, like what's his name tonight. But you're going to try to make an African-American Magneto for X-Men and an African-American Charles Xavier. You know, first of all, the fans of that probably might not be too happy with that. Second of all, why? Both men have traditionally been white. And yeah, people say, well, what about James Bond? Yeah, you know, I don't feel like they should cast an African-American actor, whether they're British or not, as James Bond. Because the characters have traditionally been white in the past. And like I said, I'm not trying to be racist either. But I'm just saying, you know, why are you doing this? When these characters, there hasn't even been an alternate universe where any of these guys have been a different color other than white. There's no alternate timeline where Charles Xavier is black, or no alternate timeline where Magneto's black. If there was, then yeah, I'd be alright with it. If there was an alternate timeline where, you know, Xavier or Magneto were black, I'd be alright with it. But there's no alternate timeline in the X-Men universe, period, where those guys were black. Same with James Bond, you know, in the timeline of the James Bond movies. There's never been anything where it's been a black James Bond. And I'm not trying, the closest thing we got to a black James Bond is Shaft, which is a very good movie. I like the 2001, and I also like this one that came out this year. And yeah, you know, well, they're like, well, you know, when they cast Daniel Craig, you know, Bond wasn't, you know, blonde-haired. Yeah, but changing the hair color and changing the skin of a person totally is two different things because, you know, yeah, maybe people could fantasize a world where James Bond at one point had his hair blonde for a little bit. I'm not saying people can't fantasize that about a black guy being James Bond either, but what I'm trying to say is, I mean, honestly, but that's what they want to do with Magneto and Xavier, and I think it's stupid. Especially with the fact you got good characters already in your freaking back pocket that you already made movies of. Like, you got the Black Panther, you've got Falcon, you've got, who else? You're about to have Storm whenever you do your next X-Men movie. Who else? You got War Machine. So, yeah. You already made up. You already got 4 good black characters already in your Marvel Cinematic Universe. I mean, Black Panther. Can't wait to see Black Panther 2, which that's not a movie I should say I felt was a good Marvel movie. Was the Black Panther movie that came out last year, or was it the year before? Well, it was last year because it was right before Infinity War. Yeah. But you got the Black Panther, you got War Machine, you got Falcon, you got Storm coming to your franchise. And there was one more. I said War Machine already. No, there's one more that they got that's a hero. Oh yeah, no. That's with Sony, my bad. I was going to say Miles Morales, but that's Sony Spider-Man. Yeah. So, yeah. Why do you feel like, I mean, yeah, I understand you want to get more of the African-American community to come see your movies, too. But, you know, even some African-American people know Magneto and Xavier as white guys. And they're still fans of them. So, I don't know why you feel like you have to make them a different skin color to get people to see them. And if they grew up as an X-Men fan, or like the same with the James Bond situation, if they grew up as a James Bond fan, you know, they probably don't care what color the character is. I don't know. But anyway, kind of went off the subject of what I was doing. I guess I could call this a random topic video. I started out just talking about the freaking critics and how critics just, you know, I feel like a lot of critics too, they're out of touch, or they're freaking too conditioned for this lifestyle, for this time frame than they were for years ago. I mean, honestly, yeah, I'm conditioned to this lifestyle. But I'm still, if I'm going to see an action movie, I'm going to see an action movie. That's why I still like the Fast and Furious movies. That's why, you know, whenever I see it's just a normal action movie, I love to see it. I mean, and look at John Wick. That movie made a lot of money. And, you know, that's generally an action movie. It wasn't a superhero movie. It wasn't a love story, or it wasn't a movie based on reality. I get so tired of these freaking movies based on reality. It's so annoying. Yeah, it's good to get the history for kids that probably didn't, you know, learn this stuff in school or whatever, but go to school and you find this stuff out. Or, you know, you can look at the world around you and find this stuff out. You know, it's just crazy. You know, Rainbow Last Blood is a Donald Trump movie. That's so stupid. The person that said it's stupid, and, you know, Rambo being racist because he's fighting the cartel and, you know, making the cartel look like bad guys because the cartel are bad guys, that's racist. You know, it's just stupid. I mean, honestly. Why you frickin' sit there? You know, it's a movie. It's meant to be entertaining. It's a frickin' one man taking down the cartel, which wouldn't happen in real life because one man could end up missing after trying to take on the cartel. No matter how skilled they are, they'd end up missing. And, you know, I mean, honestly, just like with Shaft. Oh, you know, Sam Jackson, oh, he's old and, you know, he's still trying to play like he's a playboy. I'm like, he's playing a character in a movie that he played 19 years ago, which I can't believe it took that freaking long. But I guess because he was tied up with the Star Wars movies and then the freaking whole MCU crap, he couldn't get back to the Shaft movies. And in fact, I'd love to see a Shaft 3. I've said that time and time again. I would love to see a third Shaft movie with all three Shafts, the original Shaft, Sam Jackson Shaft, and the kid that played Shaft's son in this last one that came out this year. Don't make us wait another 19 years. Yeah. Is Sam Jackson a little older, and should they have filled someone else in that character? No, but yeah, he is a little bit older, but they should not have filled anybody else in that character, because Sam Jackson played it pretty good in 2000, played it pretty good in 2019, and he had fun with it. And I'm pretty sure it was a breath of fresh air for Sam Jackson, because he's had to play all these freaking noble, by-the-book characters for so long, because of the MCU stuff and the Star Wars movies, that he finally got to do a movie where he don't have to play that character. He can play a character that's fun to play. I mean, heck, if I was a freaking black African-American actor and I wanted to freaking, and I grew up watching Shaft, I'd want to freaking play Shaft. You know, the Shaft movies are good. I don't know why this, again, more sensitive world these days, and people just want to cry about every little macho movie that's made in the world. And, you know, it's just like with the Expendables, how, you know, I feel like 2's the best, but I think 1 got good reviews. 2, I think, still got pretty good reviews, but not as good as the first one. And then 3, everybody just totally crapped on. Oh, you know, same old blah, 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 same old macho, blah, blah, blah. Well, you know, you got the freaking, all the top action stars from the 80s pretty much in these movies. I mean, you got Stallone, you got Schwarzenegger, you got a current guy in Statham. You got, you know, Terry Crews, who mainly, I think, did a couple comedies and does an Old Spice commercial. You got, Bruce Willis. You had Harrison Ford. Those guys have played in a lot of movies that were Macho Man movies, as people call it. Yeah, macho man, blah, blah, blah. You know, I get so annoyed with people, you know, and, you know, this is why action movies can't be the way they were in the 80s and 90s, because so many people want to be so sensitive to some of the viewpoints the characters are playing. Like, you know, it's just crazy with the way it is. But, you know, if you're going to review something, don't put your freaking political review. You're supposed to be a professional reviewer, and you're putting your political views in a freaking, on a movie that has nothing to do with the president. It's a character that was created years and years ago, way before this stupid idiot president was freaking president, or even thought about being president. And you're gonna put your political views in a movie like that. It's about a guy who served his country in the military, and if you watch the first one, he had PTSD, and he was dealing with that, which caused him problems with these cops, which, you know, these cops, it's not like these cops were angels to this guy. They knew he served, but they still treated him like crap, which was showing how a lot of the soldiers were treated after the Vietnam thing. I know I have a Vietnam vet that lives in my house with me, who's the father of my wife. And he told her about how people would spit on him and call them baby killers and that. So, you know, you're gonna try to put your political views in a Rambo movie that, yeah, might be filled with somewhat political views, but not who's the president or who's not. He's just trying to show what, you know, these military soldiers have to go through. Then, you know, after the first one, he goes back to Vietnam to take on some more, I think, like, what was it, Chinese or something like that, or Russians or something, I don't know. Same with Rambo 3. Now, heck, I don't know what the heck he was doing in Rambo 4. I think it was a bunch of freaking, might have been Chinese people again, too, I don't know. But, or Japanese or whatever. But, you know, these movies have always done that, and they take out the bad guys. It's not like he's you know, hates every Mexican that's in the movie. And I hear there's even some Mexican characters that are in the movie that are good and shown in a good light. But people want to say, oh, just racist and discriminating and blah, 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 blah. You know, racist and discriminating would be you know, Rainbow's taking on the whole country of Mexico, talking about, oh, I hate all Mexicans or something like that. Which apparently that's not what it is. He's just taking on the cartel. The cartel are bad guys, so why do people freaking do this crap? Yeah. It just gets annoying. Just like with Shaft. He's playing a womanizer who... That's the way the character's always been. From the early Shaft movies and the TV show to the 2000 Shaft movie where he was womanizer. Well, honestly though, I felt like in the 2000 Shaft movie, he didn't womanize as much as he did in this one. You know, in 2001 he womanized a lot, but you know, this one he really didn't womanize too much in. I'm like, huh, that's weird. It's like the current one he does, but the first one he didn't. But that's probably because he had to keep a good guy image because he's getting ready to play freaking all these characters in Star Wars and, you know, play Nick Fury in the Marvel Cinematic Universe or whatever. So, yeah. He couldn't be a womanizer, I guess. You know, but yeah, that was the character. But people were criticizing, oh, you know, playing a freaking out of date, out of shape, blah, blah, blah. Like, okay, yeah. Maybe he was too old to play the role now, and there should have been a Shaft 2 around 2002 or something. Or even mid-2000s. But, like I said, he got tied up with having to be Mace Windu, which was one of the coolest Jedis in the prequel series. Then he got stuck being Nick Fury for a ton of movies for Marvel. Yeah, but still. I've seen freaking, there's movies, yeah, sometimes it's comedies, but then sometimes there's serious movies where some of these old guys still try to pick up on these younger women. And, you know, and pretty much it's modern times. You know, even in real life, some old guys still try to pick up on the younger women because they think they're still what they were years ago. What's the problem with that, you know? It's not like... I don't know, just, you know, critics really irritate me, and I really get annoyed with critics, and I feel like Rotten Tomatoes is full of crap, and I've seen that the audience scored it, 85% of the audience thought the movie was good, and 31 Rotten Tomatoes, but a lot of the Rotten Tomato reviewers just put their own political views in it, and didn't bother, you know, actually paying attention to the movie like they do with other movies that they give bad reviews to. And then when I go see the movie, I'm like, oh yeah, I liked it, it was good. I don't know why people hated it. And that's why I don't put no stock into what critics say. And you know, I've said this time and time again. I did a video a long time ago. In fact, right after X-Men Apocalypse came out, I dogged on the critics. I also talked about how Batman v Superman, yeah. Was there points where the movie was kind of boring? Yes. But the main thing was we got what we wanted. Was Batman fighting Superman. And then we had the emotional death of Superman. And, you know, all that. So, yeah. So, critics need to either they need to pick people who are unbiased and don't have no political views when it comes to movies like Rambo and that. Or, you know, movies like Shaft, 2019. They need to pick people that are unbiased and don't have a hatred for the old school action movies of back in the day. Because I feel like some of these critics probably just hated action movies, period, back in the day. They were probably like, oh, but yeah, it's just an amazing superhero movie came out. I gotta go see it because it was made by Marvel Studios. Lord. Anyway. I'm pretty sure I've rambled enough on this video. I just get so annoyed with these critics putting their political views, or, you know, because certain political groups want to, you know, hate something because of their beliefs, whether it's their sexual orientation or whatever, and they want to frickin' dog a movie that's meant to be entertaining. It's not meant to be anything else. It's not meant to be a world view on how the world is nowadays. It's not that. Yeah, it might be a little bit of a world view because it's showing how bad the cartel is. But, you know, it's not like Rambo or Shaft is a freaking world view of what the world really is like these days. And yeah, maybe Shaft did take a little bit of cheap shots at how, you know, how sissified this world has gotten current days. But, you know, because the world was different in 2000 than it was in 2019. But, you know, yeah, maybe Shaft took some cheap shots at that. And honestly, I don't blame the movie, because anyway it would have went. This movie still would have got bashed, even if the movie wouldn't have took cheap shots at, you know, how wussified this world gotten these days. I mean, honestly. But yeah, me and my dad went and seen that movie, and we both enjoyed it. You know, when you got a movie like Maleficent that pegs men out to be the bad guys, all men are bad guys, except for Prince Charming, because, you know, people would have had an outrage if Prince Charming would have turned out to be a bad guy in Maleficent. But all men are bad guys is how the movie started. Pretty much, like most men. You know, he was selfish and he cut my wings off just so he can get a position of power. That's why I don't like Maleficent, and I don't care to see Maleficent 2. But yet you don't see me going out here bashing the movie. I did admit the movie was... I thought the movie was, as far as the movie went, it was a good movie. I just hated the movie because of her political views on all men are bad guys. Because we get pegged as bad guys all the frickin' time, but, you know... But yet people don't want to talk about some things that women do behind men's back. They just want to peg it out to be the bad guy as the guy. I'm not saying all women are like that either. I'm not saying all men are bad guys. And I'm not saying men are totally innocent. There are a lot of men out there that are bad guys. But, you know, what I'm trying to say is, that's what that movie felt like they were trying to peg it out, was all men are bad guys. You know, Sleeping Beauty turns on her own dad over a sorceress who put a curse on her and would have had her put to sleep permanently. And I like the original Sleeping Beauty movie. I remember watching it a couple times as a kid. But, you know... But yeah, people get mad when a movie like, I don't know, the woman version of the Ghostbuster movie. Which I felt like a lot of people said, oh, there was a lot of man-hating in that. I'm like, no, the movie was not that man. There was a couple of times where they did make it out like it was a man-hating movie. But it wasn't totally a man-hating movie. I mean, not like Maleficent, anyway. Maleficent just, all men are bad, blah, 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 blah. Men are bad, 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 bad. Except for the prince, who, you know, turned out to be good. Oh, he's one of the few that was good, I guess. You know, just nonsense. Anyway, I'm done with this video. Might have been a little controversial, might have been a little crazy, but yeah. Tomorrow, I will give that review of the Marvel Legends Mr. Sinister figure. Then Wednesday, I got my Facebook Live that I'll be doing a lot of predictions. I'll also be talking about that we're basically a week away from AEW's premiere on TNT. I'll do my prediction. I'll probably do reactions to American Horror Story and NXT on USA, because I can do it later in the night and all that Wednesday. But yeah, I'll catch you guys later, and let me know what you guys think of critics, especially critics on Rotten Tomatoes. Do you feel the same way I do? Do you feel like when a critic gives a movie a bad review, you just have to go see it? Or do you feel like, oh, because, you know, because I feel like people put too much freaking stock in the Rotten Tomatoes score, which is really irritating because, yeah, they say, oh, it's credible. Well, how's it credible when people are putting their political views and reviewing a movie like Rambo Last Blood? You know, that's not credible to, you know, do that. But anyway, that'll do it. I'll catch you guys later. Peace out.